Today is Friday. Wow, I had to think about that for a second. October the 23rd. I am your host, KC Phoenix, and this is my daily thought. I'm getting situated here. Actually, went to get my tea out of the refrigerator. So, my tea. And I know some people are like, that looks like cranberry juice. No, it's tea. It's hibiscus tea. For those who have like high blood pressure or whatever, one thing that helps lower it, if I can get my words out here, is hibiscus tea. It's good for opening up your blood vessels and all that stuff. Where to start? I guess, I'm really mellow right now. I have energy. I've had a lot of energy lately. But I'm just mellow. I'm so mellow right now. I'm chilling. My chicken's boiling. I have chicken like almost every night. I'm going to be clucking by the end of the year. And what else? I plan to finally do some deep cleaning to get that out the way. So keep your fingers crossed, because I know I'm keeping mine crossed in doing that. And I meant to tell you. Yeah. So how about, I was talking about, and I said Brian, but I meant to say Damon or whatever, because it's been a long time since I watched The Vampire Diaries. Just like on the episode the other day, on that same episode, I had called Kakashi Hitachi when I was talking about Naruto. And it's been a long time since I've watched these shows, because Naruto has been off for years now, because the new show is Boruto, which that's his son. And in that show, I started watching it, but it isn't the same. It has some good episodes, but then it just goes up and down, and I'm just kind of like, call me when it finally is consistently good. Not where you have a few episodes that are good and then a few episodes that are just and then it goes back to good again, and it's just like, I can't. So I had stopped watching it. And I haven't watched Naruto in a while. The only time I watch Naruto usually is if on YouTube I'll watch the Fourth Great Ninja War, because they have it cut down, because obviously throughout the anime you'll have to go through tons and tons of episodes. Dozens of episodes, about to say hundreds, but yeah, you'll have to go through a lot of episodes to watch the Great Ninja War. But what some people have done on YouTube is they've just taken the cut scenes of the war itself and not all of the stuff surrounding the war. So you can watch the Fourth Great Ninja War in maybe 4 to 7 hours, depending on which one you watch it on. So I have watched that sometimes. As for Vampire Diaries, I haven't watched it in years. But of course, I still remember Elena. I still remember Stefan, Bonnie, Caroline, Alaric, or whoever, in most of the characters. Obviously, Niklaus, because I like the originals better than Vampire Diaries. So I remember some of the characters, but I was calling Damon Brian. And long story short, because I'm going off on a whole nother trail here. Long story short, I bought Vampire Diaries and the originals today because they were both on sale. The entire series of Vampire Diaries, which is 8 seasons, and usually that series is like $100 or $100 and something or more. I got it for $35. So I bought the entire series for $35. And then the originals, which is 5 seasons for the series, I got that. I think I paid $20 for the originals. So I got that. And obviously they're on sale because of Halloween right now. But I thought it was kind of funny that I was talking about vampires and werewolves and and Vampire Diaries a few days ago. And then I log into my account today, and then right in front of me is the bundle of Vampire Diaries on sale. Because I was like, let me check the price right quick. And as soon as it said 35, I was like, bought. So yeah, got that. And I was like, well, if Vampire Diaries is on sale, is the originals on sale? And then I went ahead and looked it up and found it, and it was on sale too. So of course I got that. So yeah, and I bought a few other things. So I bought Thinner, the Stephen King movie. If you haven't seen that, Thinner is good. It's an older movie. Not old, but old enough. And I bought something else. I bought the originals, Vampire Diaries, Thinner, and I bought another movie, but I don't know what it was. It's not coming to me. Anyways, I bought something else. But yeah, today has been pretty relaxed. Oh yeah, social media, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform, KIRWKC on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook.com/KIRWKC. If you're watching this on YouTube or Dailymotion, which usually most people don't, they enjoy listening to the podcast. I looked at my numbers again today, and my numbers went up again for my podcast. So shout out to my new podcast listeners. Love you guys, whatever country you're listening in. And yeah, hit the subscribe button if you do watch. Which for the listeners, if you watch the videos, you can see the intro to the show, because I don't do an intro on the podcast, but there's an intro to the videos for the show. So just so you know, but I'm considering more than likely gonna eventually do some type of music or something for the podcast listeners to sort of I don't want to say lunge into it, because lunge is not, that could be a word that's used, but I feel like there's another word in the English language, that transition into the actual podcast itself. So that's with that. Anyways, I have to take a sip of my tea. Which, for those of you who don't know, hibiscus tea it's got a tart taste to it. It's actually, the taste is a little bit similar to cranberry juice without the sugar. Because I can't stand, see, that's another thing that I was talking about. As our lives change, so do our needs when it comes to taste and everything else. I do not like the cranberry juice that's with sugar, or the ocean spray and all that stuff where it's mixed with everything. I like 100% cranberry juice that has the tart taste to it, that has that tart bitter taste. I love that. It tastes so good. Hibiscus tea, it's not as tart and bitter as 100% cranberry juice, but it does have that element in there. It's a little bit lighter, but it's refreshing. It's really refreshing. And you can drink it hot or cold. I'm drinking mine cold, obviously. So yeah. But let's get to the daily thought. Judging versus opinion. Now this is funny. I told you guys that I would plan on doing this because I mentioned it before over and over and over again. And when I mentioned it, I said it's kind of interesting that I personally look at them as two different things, where if you look up judging in the dictionary, one of the words in the definition is opinion. And even though that's the case, I still don't look at judging as that. I really don't. I look at judging an opinion where I'll have an opinion about something, but it's just that. It's just an opinion. When someone is judging, it's almost like where they're coming from a position of authority. And that's what I don't agree with. It's almost like a judge, where if you go to a court, the judge has the authority. to say, okay, based off of the facts in regards to the case, I feel that this is this is what you did right, this is what you did wrong, you should pay this fine, or you should go to jail for this particular amount of time, or I feel there isn't a case here, or whatever the judge says in their courtroom. The judge is letting people know what he has interpreted from the situation, and he's doing it from a position of authority. Because whatever he decides in the courtroom, that's what it's going to be. I mean, obviously, depending on other things, other variables where you can appeal, and then it can go to the appeals court or what have you, and then eventually the Supreme Court if the Supreme Court decides to hear it. Because for those who don't know, the Supreme Court does not hear every case that is brought to it. So just a little legal information right there. But as a person, you are not an authority to judge someone. No one has the authority to judge anyone, and that's why I don't. I'll give my opinion, and my opinion is based on my thoughts, based on the information that's in front of me. But my opinion is just an opinion. That's all it is. Regardless of what I talk about, and all the stuff that I've talked about, I've covered a ton of things. I've done, I believe, over 100 episodes now between the Daily Thoughts and the Keeping It Real with KC episodes. Together, I've done over 100 episodes for my show. Throughout all the things that I've discussed, all of the opinions about things that I've had. And mind you, opinions can change, because my opinion on something in 2020 may be totally different when we get to 2025. And that's my right. People have a right to change their minds, which is another Daily Thought and episode within itself. But the thing that gets me, the thing that irritates me personally, is when people judge from as if what they're saying is from a position of authority. Where if someone does something, let's say someone steals, I'm just throwing this out here. You can have an opinion about it, but who are you to judge? Who are you to put someone in a box to talk about someone in the sense of everything is absolute? That's not really your thing. You can say, hey, I don't agree with that person stealing, but you can't condemn someone for their actions. And I feel like that's where the judging is at, where someone is condemned for their actions, where they're put in a box as if they're irredeemable, as if they are less than the person who is doing the quote unquote judging. And that's what I'm talking about. Where on this show, and me in general, I might have an opinion about something, but I'm not judging. I don't do that. I don't believe anyone's irredeemable. I don't believe that anyone should be fully put in a box based off of their actions, regardless of what my opinion is, because I don't like thieves. I don't. And I have a right not to. Thieves are not my thing. I don't agree with stealing. However, I don't judge, I don't condemn, I don't put them in a box, because their life is their life. Their story is their story. I don't believe in rationalization for stealing. I don't believe in that. However, That's just my opinion. I'm not, who am I to judge? That's that's the whole thing. Who am I to judge? That's just my opinion. What I say is not the end all be all. And we have people who have this mentality. I got to take another, for those listening, I have to take another sip of my tea. Okay. We have people who have this mentality that when they say something, they believe that what they say, their judgment, is the end all be all. And that's not the case. Life is not that black and white. Some things are, but for the most part, life in general, overall, just isn't. I wish it was. It'd be a whole lot easier. But then again, if it was easier, you wouldn't be battle tested and you wouldn't be able to grow. And as I said before, comfort and growth are not friends. So, yeah. But that's what I'm talking about when I say judging versus opinion. Me saying that Whitney Houston is the greatest singer ever, it's an opinion, even though I feel it's a fact. At the end of the day, it's still an opinion. My cousin who passed away many years ago, his opinion was Patti LaBelle was the greatest singer ever. And Patti, definitely in her prime, could go. She could do her thing. I still feel Whitney Houston in her prime is better. That's my opinion. But I can't sit and say and judge and be like, oh, well, it's just a fact. No, it's just an opinion. You know, I could say Gabrielle Union is the most beautiful woman in the world. That's an opinion. And comparing her to other people is still an opinion. I can't pass judgment on other people and say, oh no, none of these women can compare to Gabrielle Union. As if it's a fact. As if what I'm saying from up on high is what it is, no matter what other people say, and not acknowledge that other people have different preferences. For me, I've already told you some of my preferences when it comes to beauty. I love dark skin. I think dark skin is so beautiful. And that's one thing, that's why I say Gabrielle Union, Normani, Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child. The list goes on. Idris Elba. Tupac, he was kind of dark skinned. Not so dark skinned, but dark enough, chocolate enough. Tyrese. I just love dark skin. I think it's beautiful. I don't really see much of a comparison to it. Same thing with Asian features. I love Asian. I do. I think that Asian people are so beautiful. Dark-skinned people and Asian people, I think they are so beautiful. That's an opinion. That isn't the gospel. But when you have someone who, in their mind, their mentality is that if they were to say something like that, it's the gospel, where if someone else were to contradict what they're saying, and they're like, oh, well, they just don't know what they're talking about. That's where judging is coming in at. That's where that judging mentality is. Because you think what you're saying is the gospel. You don't realize that it's just an opinion. You're not in that authority position to distribute the gospel as much as you would like to believe that you are. And that goes to anybody, myself included. And that's why I say on the show, I just give my opinion because I don't judge. And for some of the things, I don't care because the only opinion I'm concerned with is my own. I'm not necessarily concerned with anybody else's opinion. And you can call that ego or whatever, and I'm fine with that. So that's what I'm talking about when I say judging versus opinion. And that is the difference in my eyes. And again, this is something else that if someone were listening or if they were looking up the words in the dictionary, they would be like, wait a second. In the dictionary, it says the word opinion in the definition of the word judge. And that, how can that be? But that's what I'm talking about. In my eyes, which this is my opinion, that there is a difference between judging and opinion. Now, if I had the mentality of, oh, well, no one can disagree with me, and what I'm saying is the gospel, that's judging. I'm passing judgment saying this is what it is. And sometimes when I give my opinion, I do kind of give off that vibe when I give my opinion sometimes, where this is what it is, where I do say sometimes like my mother, if that's the way I see it, that's the way it is. But even on that level, if that's the way I see it, that's the way it is. I see it from that's my opinion of the situation. It isn't a judgment. It isn't an end all be all. It's just what relates to me as an individual, as what I see, not as what it is across the board that everyone on planet Earth has to recognize. It's only what I recognize it being in the moment. And that is my opinion, not my judgment. So, in my eyes, that's the difference. I told you guys I would do a daily thought on that, and here it is. So yeah, we got that done. And this tea, it is something about, I don't know why I like bitter taste in certain things. With certain teas and juices, I like the bitter taste. I'm just not much on the sweet beverages anymore. I can't think of a sweet beverage that I like off the top of my head. I really can't. I don't like lemonade anymore. I don't like orange juice anymore. I don't like, what's some other juices that I don't like? Apple juice anymore. I can't think of any juices I actually like that are sweet. The only juice I really like is cranberry juice, 100% cranberry juice, and that's really it. I can't think of anything else. Oh, cherry juice. I like cherry juice. Cherry juice has the tart cherries. That has a good taste to it too, but it's not sweet. So, obviously. So yeah, anyways, thank you to everyone who have been listening to the podcast. I know you're listening right now. I know more people will continue to listen because, as I said before, things are happening and it's really good. I love all of you guys so much for supporting the show. And more things to come. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform, KIRWKC, on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook.com/KIRWKC. YouTube, Daily Motion. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button followed by the notification bell. That will let you know when I upload new videos. And I think that's it. And oh, one final thing before I go. This weekend, I think I'm doing a wacky news weekend, which I'm only going to do one episode for Keeping It Real with KC this weekend. And that's going to be for a while. probably until Mercury is out of retrograde, because that, along with some other things, I'm waiting for stuff to fall in order and it'll all make sense when it happens. So yeah, I'll do one episode this weekend. I think it will be a wacky news weekend, but don't quote me on that, but I think it will be. And you'll know for sure this weekend when I put up the episode. But other than that, love you guys. Until next time, be blessed.